I'm honoured that you just found the time to come on here and speak with me and let you people know a little bit about himself. And we'll get into this. But first of all, let me introduce you guys to the man, the myth, soon to be legend, the Philosotaku, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here. I really appreciate you having me. It's a big honor just to be here.
No, man, it's all good, man. I'm glad you're here, man. And what you're doing on YouTube is truly amazing, man. It really is. I'm not just saying that. I think YouTube and anime is big. People are jumping on with their webcam and they're just reviewing stuff. They're just talking. Well, they're doing what I'm doing, but they're doing it on YouTube. And but what you're doing, the term you use is you're philosophizing. You're dissecting. You're showing the people that there's something to anime, that there's something, the people who've written these stories, they actually there's meaning there, and you do it, you break down these animes and articulate the things that most of us can't articulate. And you do so using philosophy, but honestly, I think you're really just clarifying what these writers are trying to tell us.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like Elfen Lied, for instance, a lot of people ask me about that one. That one's more about psychology than it is about philosophy. So a lot of times the themes aren't necessarily going to fall cut and dry into the realms of philosophy, but I can always kind of stretch it. Philosophy would engage this through this type of thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what you mean. Before we get started, let me just tell you what we do here for all our listeners, not just your fans, but our fans as well. This project I created is called TyroCast. Now, do you know what a Tyro is?
Tyro. No, I do not.
A Tyro is you could say it's another word for a newbie, a beginner, a novice.
All right.
Yeah, it's actually even lower than that. And I like to think the journey I'm taking through life, everything's a new experience. I don't consider myself to be an expert in anything. Even though as a profession I'm an IT technician, I'm still learning. And your podcast and the videos you're doing on YouTube is a testament to that. I'm learning from you how to better understand the animes I've already seen. Things I thought I understood. I understand. There's more clarity to it now. And for that, man, I have to thank you, man, once again.
Oh, no problem. I like that though, Tyro. I like that. I'm gonna use that.
Hey! I'm gonna trademark that shit, man. You can't take that, but no. Consider yourself an honorary Tyro, man. It's all good. So yeah, man. So on this podcast, Dreamcast, it's a discussion-based podcast. We review anime. We talk about the anime industry. We don't just limit things to anime and manga, but right now, I feel that it's my passion. I love anime and manga. It's my preferred medium. I've been watching anime since I was 6 years old. The first one was Akira, which is a bit of, it's a bit Yeah, I know. It's a bit predictable. Most people say that, but it's the truth. Or maybe Ulysses 31 was my first. Anyway, I digress. But, I've been watching anime for a very, very long time. And in terms of podcasting, you don't see a lot of podcasts out there dedicated to anime and manga. I found a few, but, I just think it's, in terms of podcasting, it's not out there. So that's why I'm doing this podcast. And, that's what we do here. Yeah, man. And, yeah, man, thanks. And, it's good to have you on here to support the cause, man.
Really glad to be here. It's mind-blowing to me that anyone would want to talk to me about philosophy and anime. I thought that was such a niche and, tiny subject matter that no one would be interested in it.
It's unfortunate, but there's some truth to even that statement. It's just not... It's not out there as much, and people's perception of it is just ridiculous. People see it as either some Japanese weird, crazy cartoon, or before I even go on that whole ramble, let's talk about you. Enough about me and us. Let's talk about you, man. We need to tell us a bit about yourself. Let's start from let's get some generic things out of the way, man. Where do you reside? I'm
currently in Texas, Harker Heights, Texas.
Okay, that's interesting. Because we're hosted on a site called Spill.com, and they're based in Austin, Texas.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You're joking?
Yeah, I'll be in Austin, Texas tomorrow.
I tell you one thing, man. When they find out, when they know about this, they're gonna wish that they met you. Or I think they will down the line anyway.
At some point, I go to a whole lot of conventions, a whole lot.
Well, I think we'll talk offline about Spill. There's a convention that our site holds called Spill.con. And I think I'll inform you a little bit about that. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand. if you don't mind, let's go back a bit into your past, man. How was your upbringing, with anime? Let's, keep into the subject and matter. Growing up with anime, what was that like for you?
Well, I don't know if you guys have a parallel to this in Britain, but here in America, when I was younger, we had when I was a very young child, we had Saturday morning cartoons, and I used to always wake up real early and watch like Disney afternoons, Gargoyles, Tailspin, that sort of thing. But when I got a little older, about 10 years old, this show called Pokemon came out. And I started, hey, I really like this art style. It's pretty cool, but I couldn't really get into Pokemon. But then, like, at the same time, these shows like Sailor Moon, Digimon, Dragon Ball Z, they just like boom, 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 all started coming out all around the same time. And I was like, these shows are mind-blowing. I'm like, nothing had the sort of depth that those shows had. Like, I'm not even a huge Sailor Moon fan, but like even as a little kid, I was like, man, it kind of stings that the main character, she just wants to go to school and be a girl and date her boyfriend, but all these monsters coming from space attacking her all the time. So like it's just I saw that recurring, like this sort of make me think more about it theme in anime. Like every time I would go online and I'd see like, oh, what's on my goddess? I'll look into this, and I'd go to a comic book shop and find a couple old VHSs. Or what's Trigun? What's Trigun about? And I'd see it coming on Adult Swim like later in life, but it's just everywhere I turned. When I found an anime, it invoked thought within me.
So in contrast to the American cartoons, you found a more serious subject matter in the Japanese anime that you were seeing on American TV.
Definitely. I mean, like I came off of like Dexter's Lab and Powerpuff Girls, and I love Dexter's Lab. I still have a lot of nostalgia for that show, and it's certainly very funny, but it's not anything that's ever made me sit down and think about life and like the greater mysteries of the world.
Yeah, I totally agree. And yeah, to answer your question, it was a bit different in Britain because we only had one anime distributionary company called Manga Entertainment, which is a worldwide company. I know it's pretty well known, not as big as Funimation or any of the other ones, but
I've heard of Manga.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I'll tell you something funny about Britain. If you come over here and you say anime, well, actually, this is different now. But back in the day, let's say the late 90s, early 90s, everyone used to call anime manga.
Really?
Because all they knew was Manga Entertainment. So everyone would say, oh, have you watched that manga Guyver? Oh, have you watched that manga 3x3 Eyes? And like, yeah. But funny story is, I was working in an IT company with this guy, mangaka, and he asked me if I had seen Akira the manga. And I said, yeah, I watched that. And he was like, no, have you read Akira the manga? And I was like, read the manga? What are you talking about? And then I was like, yeah, manga, the graphic novel. And I'm like, okay. He said, you've watched the anime. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've seen that. And he said, it's called anime. And that was that was 2003. That was the first. I know it's totally ridiculous. I'm putting myself out there even saying this. People are even raising their eyebrow right now, but it's the truth, man. I didn't even really use the word anime until that time. I always used to say Japanese cartoon or manga. I used to say, hey, you come to Britain. So even to this day, if you come to Britain, a lot of people say, I've seen that manga. So
well, that's real interesting. I mean, like when I was a kid, mangas didn't come in books. They came in actual like comic book issues, and there would be like Gunsmith Cats, and it was published by Dark Horse, and they would be like come in like a volume of 5, and you'd have to get all 5 to be the equivalent of one manga chapter.
Yeah, and I have to say, in Britain, it just wasn't on TV until the late 90s. I think Dragon Ball Z was the first. Cartoon Network we had something called Toonami out here, and Cartoon Network, I think Dragon Ball Z was like the first long-running shonen anime that was out. That really broke the mold. The only reason I saw Akira early is because it was such a phenomenon. It was like it was a movie. It was like a worldwide phenomenon, even at the time. So that was the first anime I saw back in 1992, I believe. And apart from that, I didn't really, unless I rented it from manga distribution, like I said before, I never saw anime on TV. So really, I can't even, to be perfectly honest with you, I never got into anime until the birth of the internet. Like most people. Until the internet became really out there with broadband, I didn't get to see a lot of titles.
I think that's fair enough. I think that's perfectly understandable. I mean, it's a pretty niche subject matter already. So like, and especially in an area that might not be as not culturally, but like multimedia savvy as America, like what with our 300 television channels, that I could understand how it'd be more difficult to get a hold of anything.
Well, let's continue your evolution, man. How did you grow from the anime watcher to the Philosotaku? Let me zero in. I don't need to jump ahead. Where did you decide to, increase that love, or, to take it a little bit further from just watching anime?
When I first started going to conventions, I was super into the community around the convention. So I used to go onto their websites, and I would go onto their forums and like just start talking with people. And through that, there was a girl I met that I wanted to, talk to some more, or I wanted to date her, but she was on a live journal, and I got a live journal, but, I couldn't just have a live journal with no posts in it and then just start commenting on this girl's page. I thought that would be weird, so I started updating it occasionally, and, you write about what you know, so I started writing about anime.
What is a live journal, by the way? I'm not going to pretend I know what that is. Is that an earlier form of Facebook or something?
It's just a blog website. It's like an online journal.
Okay.
It's sort of like Facebook, but you can make your posts however long you want, more or less.
All right. So from what I understand, you're telling me that you got more into this because of a chick.
Yeah.
As a guy, I can't hate on you. I understand. It happens to the best of us, man. So yeah. So I mean, through love, you found a deeper love for anime. That's cool.
Yeah, I guess that's fair enough.
So I'm gonna assume that you started taking some kind of what is it, psychology course in not psychology. I mean philosophy course in college. Is that what you was doing before, and you've kind of merged out of anime?
Well, I've actually only taken one philosophy course in college. I regret to say. I'd really like to take more.
Really?
Yeah, but most of my studies have been just reading and self-study and just discussion with friends about, oh, have you read this person's book on this or that?
So you're I'm going to use a big word now, even for a tyro. I think the word's autodidact. Is that right?
Self-taught. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the term.
I would argue that I was self-taught, yeah.
I know big words, people. So, yeah, that's cool, man. So all this, because, when I watch your videos, man, I would think you was an accomplished major or something, man, because you're giving us books to read, you're referencing stuff to us. I know we live in the information age, so, I'm not saying it's difficult for anyone to read a book, man, but you seem really well endowed in what you're talking about.
I read quite a bit, but that's just I find myself with a lot of time, and I like reading about philosophy, if only to prove that I'm smarter than other people.
All right, man. So how did it turn into you having your own panel at cons? How did that come about?
Let me think. Let me think back if I can remember the first con that I did.
Can you remember the year?
I think it would have been like 2006, right at the end of college, and I think I really want to say it was a con called Tokyo and Tulsa, which I had been going to since it first started. I knew the people who worked there, and they were like, we'll give you a badge for free if you'll do a panel for us. And I was like, well, what can I do a panel about? Anime and philosophy. Why not?
You're joking. So they put it to you. Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly. They didn't come to me and ask me to do it. It's just I saw that they were giving badges away for free, so I was like, what can I do?
Well, that's cool. And was you nervous to do it? Because it sounds like a big deal to me, man.
Oh, well, I've been on stage a whole lot. Like, I've been an actor a lot of my life. So when I get on stage in front of people, I get all this energy. And like, if you watch my show, I'm a pretty quiet, and I try and keep myself very calm and professional sounding. But when I get in front of people, I get all this energy, and I yell, and I'm excitable. So I'm always afraid people are going to be like, "Hey, you're not the same guy," or what happened to you? Were you doing cocaine that day or something?
Well, I can't. You're very, like you said, you're very calm and concise when you do your videos. So I wouldn't tell you're such an energetic guy, but have you got? I don't think there's any other YouTube apart from your videos. Have you got any videos of you at the con? As people taking videos of you? Because I haven't really found any.
People have, but I've seen people taking videos of me, but I've never seen them posted, so I don't know what they do with them.
Well, I'm sure that, once they hear this, someone's going to dig it up. This is what happens when you start to grow a fan base. People start looking into you, they start looking into your history, and they're going to find that video of you, man. They're going to find that video of you wearing that cosplay suit that you wish you never wore that day. They're going to find it, man. So you better be careful. You know what I'm saying?
My first cosplay was a Naruto ninja. I'm not proud of it.
That's not too bad. Well, all right, so what were you the Leaf Village clan, or was you from another village?
You remember that he was that guy dressed in all black. I don't even remember his name now. It was my first con. It was a long time ago, but he was one of the trainers, and he was dressed in completely black and just had the headband on. And I happened to have a ninja. I know how odd that sounds. I happened to have a ninja suit, but I happened to have a ninja suit in my first con. I was like, yeah, I'll go as a Naruto guy. Why not?
You just happen to have a ninja suit, eh?
I just happened to have a ninja suit.
And that sounds kind of dubious. What's that? Wow. Oh, hey, I don't want to talk about what you get up to in your own personal. Let's keep this shit above board right here. So, all right, you've been doing anime conventions since 2006 to 2012, man. That's 6 years. That's a long time, man.
Well, yeah, it's less conventions than you might think, though. It's only like the last couple of years that I've been doing like a convention every month, but it used to be like I would do 1 or 2 or maybe 3 conventions a year.
All right, man. So from reading some of your comments, I found out that you're actually in the army.
Yes, I am.
That must be difficult doing the conventions and being in the service, man.
The Army's actually pretty generous about giving 3-day weekends. It's not terrible. It's only bad when, they want to call me back and give me extra work on the weekend, which is fairly rare, but it happens.
Yeah, I did read you actually went to Iraq, though, didn't you?
Just got back last month.
Damn, man. I might as well ask the question most people probably thinking, man. Did you actually have to participate in some actual kind of physical interaction or situation?
That's actually something I won't go too deep into, but enough to say that I was on a lot of patrols, and I did not only foot patrols but also mounted vehicle patrols. Yeah.
That's fair enough. I think most of us are they're a bit worried about you, man. Being out there is dangerous and stuff, and you're becoming a very special guy to us otaku. We don't want anything to happen to you, so you're back now, and we're glad you're back. And obviously, we heard that Obama's called off the whole war in essence, but obviously I don't want to get into that. But hopefully, you're here to stay.
Yeah, I should be back for good now.
All right, so you're going to be stationed here, even though you might not be available. You will be in America full time.
Yeah, I should be in America full time. I should be done with this whole army thing in about 1.5 years anyway. That's
cool, man. That's really good, man. And it's commendable you still found the time to do both, man. Because I can only imagine how hard that was.
Well, I went on like a 7-month hiatus, and I was constantly I kept getting comments and messages like, "Hey, when you coming back? You haven't posted a video in a while. Are you still around?" I was like, "I'm in Iraq. What can I do?" I was like, "Well, if I have to leave them waiting for a long time, I may as well do something good." So I did that. I did a Defense of the Medium video. And I felt pretty proud and accomplished about the things I said in that one. I was like, I'll let them sit on this for a while until I get back.
Well, since you brought it up, man, first, I might as well say that's how I actually found you. One of our group members, Eric's Blue, who also is like an artist for you as well.
She's a fantastic lady. She's super sweet.
Oh, yeah, she's a diamond. She's my little chibi. I love that girl. I want to marry her, but she turned me down, so I that's a totally different story, man. But anyway, she was posting blogs on Spill.com, which is the site that we're hosted on, and she posted 2 of your anime dissections, we'll call them, and then she posted your Defense of the Medium video. Now, let me tell you something, man. When I watched that video, you basically just put everything I actually thought about the industry into perspective. How it's overlooked, overshadowed, and how even us otakus are kind of abusing the whole system, with the copyright issue, which we're going to get into. That's a whole thing we're going to talk about. But just talking about the video itself right now, you really did articulate a lot of the things that I always thought about anime, that it's more than just a story. There's meaning, there's messages, there's something behind this. There's a whole philosophy behind this anime, and that's why you love it, and that's why we love it. We don't just love it because it's cool looking. We don't just love it because we want to see fucking fan service. We love it because there's an inner meaning. And, I'm very passionate about that. I don't want to put people off by how passionate I am about it, but the way you delivered that video, very cool and concise and laid the facts, it was truly amazing. As soon as I saw that video, I was like, I have to get this guy on the cast, man.
Well, I appreciate that. And that is one of the videos I'm more proud of, definitely.
You should be, man, because I think that video really is a testament to how a lot of people feel about anime, and I'm pretty sure it's your highest ranked video out of all your videos.
I think it is, actually, yeah.
For good reason, Talking about the making of the videos, do you find it difficult to make videos? Are you a very tech savvy person?
Well, I used to work at a news station. Before I was in the Army, I worked as a video editor, and I actually happened to get a hold of the same I got a hold of the same program that we used at the news station, so I'm pretty familiar with the editing. I just wish I could be, I don't know, maybe a little more entertaining. I basically go up there and give a lecture for, 5 minutes about an anime and then show some clips and pictures.
My friend, I can only speak on my own behalf, but there's 1,000 people on YouTube that are just there to talk about anime and make you laugh. I don't need another one of them guys. What I need is someone who's going to break down and tell me the inner meanings of the anime. It's not even something I thought I wanted until I saw your video, and it's out there now. So I don't want you to change. I honestly don't. I think what you're doing is perfect. It's not even that long. Your videos are not even 10 minutes. You're not. Obviously, I can only speak for myself. I don't feel like you're boring or anything. I think you're very short, straight to the point, and on the ball. But again, I can only speak for myself. And 300 or 400 followers you have right now?
Well, I get about a solid 300 on YouTube, and then I have a blip page, and I get about another 200. And I don't know how many intersect there, but I usually say I got about 500 solid followers, and I usually get more views than that. So I think 500 is a fair number.
I guess there's some downsides to being on YouTube, but the obvious upside is you kind of get. It's obviously the most well-known video website on the planet, number one. Number two, it's probably easy to get a fan base, but the downside is they are very strict on kind of material that you use. And a good example of that is they've blocked one of your videos, which is quite annoying.
Princess Mononoke. It wasn't even.
Yeah.
That's probably my least favorite video I ever did, because I was in a bad situation at that time. I did that video in a car, so the audio is real awful. But
I think you didn't re-upload that one and make a second one, and the audio was better.
No, that was Elfenlied. Elfenlied had I didn't get rid of the white noise, so there was a lot of noise in the background.
Like I just said, the downside to YouTube is they're funny about you using some material, and Studio Ghibli, the / Disney, we might as well say, the big beasts that they are, they're very funny. I think what you would do would promote the sale of their videos anyway, but obviously they don't see it that way, so they just blocked you, so whatever. So, I would say go to the Blip TV. I think you've got a couple more videos on your Blip TV channel than you do on your YouTube anyway.
I think I have like one or two more. I haven't checked in a while.
Yeah, I noticed, because when I was doing research for this episode, I noticed you had they were just short videos, but still, but you're not going to get the hassle. And the same thing with podcasting, unless you're getting paid or you got a company behind you, you can basically do what you want with clips and whatnot, and no one's going to really bother you unless you're profiting from it somehow, or you're trying to make money, or it's the same thing, you're trying to make money off it. So anyway, man, let's move on to our next thing, and I know this is the most general question I'm going to ask you, man, but how do you feel about the anime industry today anyway, in general?
I feel as though the anime industry right now is it knows what it is. It knows we have a good idea what anime is, but it is unsure of which direction it wants to take itself right now for a number of reasons. Ecchi is what's selling the best right now, just like frankly speaking. So we're seeing a lot more ecchi series, Heaven's Lost Property, even Baka and Test had a little ecchi in it, but then the other issue is the money. Is we don't exactly know how to sell anime right now. Like we're moving to a more live stream. Like Funimation's doing a streaming system now. Hulu and Crunchyroll are both doing really well with anime, but like people aren't buying the DVDs like they used to due to the the prevalence of the internet and the ability to just download it, I think. But so I think anime is sort of, it's shuffling its feet right now, and it's trying to figure out which direction it wants to go. Sort of stuck a little bit. It's slowed down.
All right. So do you buy DVDs yourself, anime DVDs?
I buy all sorts.
Them?
Yeah, I buy all sorts of stuff. I try and spend about $200 a month on anime, just as a standard rule.
Do you feel obligated to do that?
Yes, actually, I do. I feel as though if I enjoy a medium and it's something that I would derive, my top 3 favorite things in the whole wide world to, I think that it's my duty to make sure that the people who create those things continue to get paid, and I can continue to make sure that anime is more than just shonen shows in Japan, or like just more than ecchi shows. I want them to know that I want to see shows like Spice and Wolf. I want to see shows like Gurren Lagann. I want to see shows like Soul Eater. Actually, I just been watching Soul Eater recently, and I really like that.
I really wanted to talk about Soul Eater. I'm going to do another podcast with my co-host Nuance about Soul Eater, because I'm going off topic here, just because you brought it up. I really felt Soul Eater had the potential to be another big runner as an ongoing shonen, because I thought it had originality. I thought it had what One Piece had, with the kind of what's the word I'm looking for? The camaraderie between the characters. And when it was airing, everyone thought it was going to be the next one of the big 3. But unfortunately, they went in a different direction in the manga. They wrapped up storylines that don't end in the manga, and
Yeah.
Well, sorry, you haven't even watched it all, so I thought I shouldn't be saying this. I don't want to spoil it for you, but yeah.
From what I've watched, what I really like about it is that all the characters are right from the start very well established. They'll have pasts, likes, interests. They put them all in similar situations and show how they respond to them. Like I really like the way it's done.
Are you watching the dub or the sub?
I watch dub. I watch dubs just by preference.
Hey man, let's bring up the big old topic. Dub versus sub. How do you feel about it?
Well, actually, I'm with a woman right now who she's been trying to do a panel about this, but she hasn't gotten around to finding all the footage. So I've had a lot of discussions about this, and the way I feel about it is this. In general, when I'm watching a show, I prefer it in dubs because I can more easily emotionally connect to a character when I don't have the language barrier. I don't have to read it. Then I can feel their acting coming through. Also, the Japanese have a completely different form of acting. They've just than my American ideologies hold. American ideology is more about subtlety in acting, and the Japanese ideology is more about emotion. So we have the tendency to think that they're overacting. But on the flip side of that, I can't watch like a horror anime. Like one of my favorite animes of all time is Higurashi. When They Cry.
I love that anime.
But
same as here, yeah.
I can't watch the dub of it because I feel like they're missing the what makes it scary. They're missing the tonal scariness, like in tone of voice and delivery. But when I watch it in Japanese, I'm just sitting there, biting my nails.
That is a fantastic comparison. I couldn't agree more. And you know what? Let me tell you this. I'm gonna help you out and elaborate more on how I feel about dub versus sub. Now, I've sat down and watched countless videos on this argument, and let me put it all out there for people. Now, here's some misconceptions about dub versus sub, which I'm sure you already know. Some people seem to feel that they're superior if they watch the Japanese language subtitled version because they're hearing the real voice actors, and that's how it's meant to be, quote unquote, right? All right, first of all, I'll say what I think about that. I think, just like you said, in most cases, it doesn't matter. Personally, I feel like in most cases, it really doesn't matter. And yes, in some cases, they get it terribly wrong. Higurashi, that was one of the cases where I really hated the dub when I started watching it, but I got used to it. But ultimately, unfortunately, it does take away from the anime. But I will never watch the second season of Higurashi in English dub because the first season, let's just say I feel like you can get away with watching the first season in dub, but the second season in particular, is you need to watch the sub for that. That's my personal whatever. But anyway, getting back to the point I'm trying to make about dub versus sub. People say, yeah, oh, if you watch the English is so terrible, or the Japanese, that's how it really is. All right. Mannerisms in Japanese and English are totally different, okay? It's a totally different way they carry characters because of the way they act. Now, in some animes, they put more effort into it. Like, an example is Wolf's Rain. Wolf's Rain, the dub is flawless. It's totally fantastic.
It is a gorgeous dub.
Dub, yeah. And Cowboy Bebop, the same. Amazing dub. But a lot of people said you don't even need to watch a sub. And even I've read some of the Japanese creators agreed that they feel, even though it's kind of, that doesn't kind of make sense because they don't speak English. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, another argument I've heard is, how can you say Japanese sounds better when you don't understand Japanese? If you don't understand the language itself, how can you tell a good voice actor from a bad voice actor? If you get what I'm saying.
Well, like I've done voice work for a long time, so I can identify that sort of stuff. But I understand exactly what you mean. Like people who say the acting in the Japanese version is so much better. I mean, but how many Japanese stand-up routines have you seen? How many Japanese movies have you watched?
Exactly. How would you know the dialect? How would you know this character isn't coming off too strong if you don't understand Japanese? If you don't understand the tonal differences because you don't understand the fucking dialect? You know.
Yeah.
Honest to God, man, I got nothing against dub. I've watched, and some of the dub people claim to be atrocious. I just think they're meh. I'm like, it was bad, but it was watchable. It wasn't that bad. I don't think I've seen a truly bad dub except for Ghazi's Wing. And funny enough, with that title, even in Japanese, it's the pacing of the anime which is terrible. Not particularly, not only the dialect, even the pacing. It doesn't make sense even in either language. So, my personal take on dub versus sub is dub is much better than it is now than it was before. I don't mind watching either, but I'm not the fastest reader. It takes me 0.10 seconds more. No, not 0.10 seconds. It takes me about 3 seconds longer to watch an anime every minute. So it ends up being about 5 or 10 minutes more to watch one episode for me because I'm not the fastest reader. So I would prefer to watch dub.
I watched a show illegally, boo me, but I watched a show illegally a number of years ago called, I think it was Yakitate Fresh Baked, and it was all about baking bread.
The boy, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but it was all the jokes were pun-based, but I didn't understand the puns at all, so I had to read like the little, by the way, this is funny because in Japanese this word means blank and this word means blank. But if I could say one thing to any of the like people who are so into subtitles and say that they're better, I just got to say take one look at a show called Bakano, and Bakano was like tailor-made for the dub, and it is so good. Like all the characters come off so genuine and so perfect for the Japanese voices. And like when you compare it to the Japanese, it's the Japanese that like even not understanding anything about the language, people say, yeah, they feel kind of flat by comparison. So it's not a cut and dry dub. Dub is always better than the sub, but that would be the anime I would say is the perfect example of what a dub can be, and it's also really easily accessible because it's not super long.
Yeah, to put it in a nutshell, I think people are just way too sensitive about the whole thing. Even back in the day when dub wasn't even that great, it didn't really bother me. I think people exaggerate. I really do. The dub ain't that bad. It really ain't. The only thing, I think sometimes dub can hurt an anime and not get the point across as well as the Japanese do. Higurashi was the best example, And if I had to name my favorite anime dub of all time, which even the Japanese have said that, even to them, it's superior. It's Ranma 1/2. It's
a lot of fun.
The comedy even is just, it's like it was written for an English language.
And that's before, that was them knowing that it wasn't going to get broadcasted on television. That's a really brilliant dub. I love it.
Yeah, well, it is actually in my top 5 anime of all time. So, yeah, man, let's move on to that generic question. Can you name us some of your favorite animes just for the people? Just, don't worry about pleasing the people. Just what you really love. Any anime.
So I keep a top 5 favorite anime because I feel like if I go further than 5, then it starts sort of losing meaning. People are like, oh, these are my top 30 favorite anime because I love anime so much. I mean, no, it's like I have a top 5 that if I had to refer to my absolute favorites, but it always changes. But right now, starting from number 5 would be Higurashi, and the only reason Higurashi isn't higher on the list is because of how incredibly deep, like, the novels went, but how shallow the anime fell. Number 4 would be Please Teacher, because I recently revisited that one, and that one's a nostalgic trip for me, and I remember how much I love romantic comedies because of it. My number 3 hasn't changed in about 2 years, by the way. Number 3 would be Yami no Matsue, or The Descendants of Darkness, which was a little gem that a lot of people missed out on.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot. Fantastic dub, actually, with the villain in that show. That was the only show he ever dubbed, but I don't know why. He was really good. Number 2 is Spice and Wolf. It's easily the most philosophical show I've ever seen, and it's the show that has made me cry more from not like nobody dies or anything like that, but there's a scene in there that it makes me cry so much every single time I watch it, and I don't want to get into it, but I love Spice and Wolf in my
manly tears, though. Yeah, sorry, go on.
And my number 1, unequivocally, is for being everything that I want out of an anime, and being, I think, just like this over-the-top love letter to mecha and anime and fanboys everywhere, has been Gurren Lagann for a while. I love Gurren Lagann, and there's
not a bad choice.
There's a lot of solid stuff in there.
I think Gurren Lagann, it was one of those titles. That and Bacano, those are 2 animes that reminded me why I like anime. He just took everything I thought I knew and threw up in the air again, and that's what I love about anime. So creative. Gurren Lagann, the anime style, it made me uncomfortable. I was like, this is very comic-y, I can't take this seriously. But then, with the drill and the energy and the characters and I was just loving that. I was just, yeah, reach the sky. And I forgot the guy's catchphrase. What is it again? Is it
Kamina?
Yeah, Kamina, yeah.
Is it, don't believe in yourself, believe in the me that believes in you, or?
That's the one. It sounds corny. People are rolling their eyes thinking, what the hell's wrong with this guy right now? But I'm sorry, man. Gurren Lagann, it just put all the energy in me, man. I love the anime. And going back to Bacano was one of the titles that just threw 3 different genres in one, where I thought I was watching some gangster story, then I saw some sci-fi elements, and I saw the way they delivered the story going back and forth, and, the characters, and it's just great. Short, sweet, original, so many different things to take from the anime. Loved it, man. Dub was fantastic. Characters are great. Yeah, man. Those are the kind of anime. Every couple of years, when you think, in this day and age, people are saying anime is going through a slump. I totally agree. But you get gems like that come along that really remind you that originality is still there,
Yeah. I'm personally looking forward to this. I haven't seen Madoka Magica whatever yet, but everybody keeps telling me that it's really good, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. It's actually coming out Valentine's Day. I
just finished it last week.
I hear it's really good. I haven't watched it at all.
It really, really is. But you know what? I'm not going to say too much about it, because there's one guy I'm going to have on a podcast that he's very angry with the anime for, I would say, the wrong reasons. And I know he's going to be up. Me and him are going to get into an argument about this later. Basically, his argument is this. He wrote a very long review about, I might as well say who it is. I'm talking about Rory Con fan. He wrote a very, 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 very long review about this on Mal. He actually broke it down episode by episode, which I thought was more... I thought that was a bit over the top, to be honest with you, but he seemed to have the issue he had with the anime is more to do with the fact that he had watched something like Sailor Moon, and Madoka Magica is only 13 episodes. Sailor Moon's over 200. And Madoka Magica seems to take everything Sailor Moon did in 13 episodes that Sailor Moon did in 200. And I don't think he's very happy about that. Because obviously when you watch I've been in that position, you watch something so long and you get a lot from it, but then something else comes out that does exactly the same thing in a short amount of time, and people love it, lapping it up, but then I think I haven't spoken to him about it yet. It's kind of it's the passage of time. Some people learn from other people's mistakes. They write anime better now than they probably did in the past. Anyway, I'm going a bit off topic, but it's a really great anime. I understand why he's frustrated because, as far as he's concerned, Mahou Shoujo anime there's been other ones, and this one's getting all this hype, and you should watch the other ones because the other ones are better. But to be honest with you, I think this is a really great anime. I really, really do. It deserves a lot of the hype. And when I saw the trailer for it, I actually thought it was just some moe bullshit. I really did.
That's what I thought also, but then everyone's like telling me it's like, oh no, it's way more than this. It has this crazy dark twist. I was like, all right, I'll look into it when it comes out. It's coming out in America.
All I will say, without going, because I've gone on about this too long already, is that the attention they take to the characters is why I love it. Forget about everything else. That's why I love it. I love they just take the time with the characters, whatever. But I don't want to spoil it for people. You need to check it out. I think it's not overhyped. I think it kind of does deserve. It's really short. I love animated and short and sweet like that. But anyway, yeah, man, I think you're gonna like it. I really do. So I like to get. I think there's a lot of philosophy in that as well, by the way. So we'll see. We'll see. We might get a video from you about that one.
Maybe.
maybe not. Anyway, moving on. Now I'm going to ask you a question I probably should have asked you in the midst of me asking you how you came into this, because we're kind of taking 2 steps back now. But actually, I think you kind of answered this question already. I was going to ask you why you do this, why you're actually doing this. But, I think we've already gone over this, to be honest with you. And so have I. We've both reiterated that. We've both found something in anime that people just can't seem to see. And maybe, I don't know. I don't think you have to be a genius to really see the potential, or the anime just takes things more seriously. They touch on topics, blah, 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 blah. I'm reiterating what I've reiterated already, so I think you've answered this question already. So
let me add just one thing to it. Like, when I started the show, one of the things I thought was, if I could change the way one person views anime, and then by extension maybe change the way they philosophically view the world, like the implications that I could meaningfully impact someone's life through this show, that was mind-blowing to me. So that was a factor also.
You've done that for me. I'm one, and I know you got 300 other or 400 other subscribers that feel the same way, man. So you're fighting a good fight, man.
I appreciate it.
But you know what? I've broken this interview up into 3 sections. So right now we're gonna take a little commercial break for the people. I'm gonna give people a chance to pause it if you're at work, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna continue our next 2 sections.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man. We'll be back in a minute, folks. So bear with us. Folks, we're back with part 2 of the interview with the Philosotaku, man. Thanks for joining us once again.
Thanks for having me.
I'm still in awe, man, that you're still doing this. And one day when I look back on this, when you're making your millions, when you got your own show, when anime is known by the masses, and they're gonna remember this podcast. This is where it all started, ground zero. Like, remember that.
I will.
When I'm dead and gone. I'm talking to the audience. They remember. They should remember this. Don One did it first, alright? Dreamcast, Tyrocast, we did it first. All right, man. So now I'm gonna take control of this. I'm gonna bring it back. I've got some questions to ask you, man.
All right.
I'm gonna bring up some topics we've been talking about on this podcast already. One in particular. Just want to get your opinion on these things. Do you know about? I know people are gonna yawn when I bring this up. Do you know about? Have you seen the anime Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah, sure.
How'd you feel about it?
How did I feel about it? It was a little short, kind of disappointing there. But the idea, I didn't like the whole robot kung fu sort of thing. But what I really liked about the show was they had this great way of being introspective with the characters. Like, it's been a little while since I've seen it. Like, I'm assuming you're referring to like the '90s one.
Yeah, I am. There's no remake. That's the only anime that was ever made of it. So, there's a reason why I bring this up. So let me ask you another question. Have you seen the movie Avatar? James Cameron?
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
I thought it was suspiciously similar to Last Samurai.
True.
Or Dances with Wolves. All that proud nobles don't want their land taken by the evil invaders sort of stories.
All right. Well, I've brought this up on many podcasts now, so I'm sure most of our listeners know this, but you might not know this. Some people don't know this. Do you know that James Cameron has been planning for about 15 years to make a movie of Battle Angel Alita?
I did know that, yes, actually. I read about that like a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, that'll be cool if it ever happens.
He keeps on bringing it up in all of his cons, and recently he said that, this is a really bold statement he made. He said that the 3D technology he used in Avatar was like a precursor, like a testing ground for him to see how well he can do the Battle Angel Alita movie, and he feels like he's ready to do that now.
That'd be really cool. I would watch that. I would see it.
Yeah. Okay. So me and my co-host Old Boy got a little premonition about how things are going to go. Now, American movies, we're in this time of the fucking superhero sequelitis times. You know, every big movie now is a superhero-based, sequel-based movie, right?
Yeah, seems like it.
And America, not just America, the whole world, we have this, I would say most of America though, they have this thing for going to other countries, taking properties now and remaking them. An obvious example right now would be The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Right.
Or Let the Right One In. So what I'm saying, and I put this to one of another podcaster, is that I feel that once this Battle Angel Alita movie comes into fruition, or when it materializes, I think manga and anime is going to be the next big Hollywood thing that they're going to jump on.
That would be really, really cool.
I think it's inevitable to be, and the reason why I say that, and a lot of people were like, on the last podcast you heard me speak about this with Corey. A lot of people are like, yeah, it's not only is it kind of wishful thinking, but the Americans they're not exposed to it enough, and anime is very niche. I totally agree, but the thing about America is, once one person does something well and something that seems original, everyone jumps on the bandwagon. And it's not just anime I'm talking about. You can put this to any medium. Books, music, movies. A good example would be fucking auto-tune. You know, yeah. One rapper uses auto-tune. Everyone uses auto-tune now. Go into movies, you know, vampires. I know they've been popular for a very long time, but now it's a big thing. Same thing with zombies. Zombies is zombie apocalypse. People are trying to cash in on this shit. And I just think that manga and anime, the Japanese material is a great source of originality, and it just hasn't been done well yet. And as soon as someone does it well, it's just going to be a whole thing. It's going to be the next big thing. You know.
Counter question to you then: did you see the movie Black Swan?
I did.
You know, won all those Academy Awards, all that business. Did you ever see an anime called Perfect Blue?
Yes, I love Perfect Blue.
Same movie.
Totally agree.
Same movie. The guy who directed Black Swan actually owns the rights to Perfect Blue, but he did that for a different movie. But it's like the same film. Like,
oh really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Is that a coincidence?
He says that they aren't based off of each other, but to me it's pretty obvious it's the same film. But he did a shot by shot remake of a scene in Perfect Blue for his last movie. can't remember what it's called. Vanilla Sky, I think.
Ooh, Vanilla Sky, yeah. Love that movie. But that's a remake as well. Another remake that was stolen. I didn't even know this until recently. That was stolen from another country, actually, a year later. And is it Selma Hayek? Is she the woman in that?
Yeah, I think so.
Vanilla Sky? Yeah, she was actually in the original that the Americans remade of Vanilla Sky.
Crazy little movie facts.
I'm a big movie buff as well, by the way, but more of an anime buff. But you know what? Let me throw the counter question back at you that you just threw at me. You see the movie called Inception, right?
Yeah, sure.
Have you seen the anime called Paprika?
Yeah.
Is that not the same fucking thing?
They're pretty darn similar. The only difference is there's no heist in Paprika. It was just him. No, there's a killer though. So yeah, it's pretty similar.
Christopher Nolan is stated by saying he was a little bit inspired by Paprika as well. You know, just a little bit inspired. Okay.
I read a little while ago there's like a DuckTales comic book that was like the same plot of Inception.
Exactly. I heard that was all over the news. I think someone tried to get money off that, and you know, it's one of those things. So anyway, I know I've been kind of tiptoeing around and acting kind of funny when I'm saying this, but I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there that I think within the next 10 years or so, someone's going to do one great animated manga movie. There's a lot of titles out there that just have the potential to be great.
I could really see that. I mean, especially like in this age where, like, okay, just take the original Underworld. I really like the original Underworld, but it's basically an anime-esque plot.
Yeah. I liked they had a prequel movie. I liked that more than any of the other movies of Underworld, actually.
I saw the second one and I was so disappointed in it, and I haven't seen the third one yet.
The prequel, everyone agrees, is better than both movies.
Really?
But the first and the second one, yeah, it really is.
I really liked the first one. I didn't like the second one at all, but I haven't seen the third one yet.
It's not like I disliked the first two. I just thought they were meh. Yeah. So, funny enough, I was talking to my co-host about this before. When you think of some of the live-action American animes they've already tried, man, it's not even worth talking about. That Dragon Ball Evolution, man, god damn.
I didn't even watch that movie. Like, even as an anime fan, I couldn't justify seeing that. However, I saw was it Speed Racer in theaters, and next to The Dark Knight, I thought that was the best movie of the year.
Well, Speed Racer.
Speed Racer, yeah.
I loved it. I really did. And people hated it.
Yeah, I don't know why. I was like, this movie is...
Neither do I. Everything I thought,
yeah.
It actually surpassed my expectations. You know, visually, I love Christina Ricci, by the way. I got a big crush on her. So that
didn't hurt.
That had a little bit to do with it. You know, that's neither here nor there. You know? But apart from that, the visuals are great and all that. And drag this back into anime. Recently saw another anime, very much had the spirit of the Speed Racer live action movie we're talking about. Have you seen Redline?
Yeah, I thought Redline was really, really cool, like ridiculously, explosively awesome. I thought it was really cool.
I saw prior to watching Redline 2 weeks ago, I saw another anime, which is called IGPX. It really isn't fair for me to compare the two, because IGPX was a project done with Cartoon Network and the Japanese anime. I don't know if it was Madhouse or something. I can't remember the company, the anime studio that joined up with Cartoon Network to do it. And as far as racing goes, it was very lame. I was really bored. Then again, it was aimed at a certain demographic. It was only for pre-teenagers. But you know, I thought racing anime, I have some expectations. When I saw Redline, that's what I expected from a racing anime. It just totally blew me away. It's like, it reminded me of a combination of the PlayStation game Wipeout.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Wii game No More Heroes, and Speed Racer, the movie.
It was really good. Like, I don't play racing games, and I don't follow racing, but I thought Redline it wasn't character heavy or anything. It was just awesome the whole way through. It was like hitting a semi truck with a baseball bat. You know what I mean? It's just over the top, super good. I liked it a lot.
So did I, man. I really, really loved it. And what else can I say, man? I mean, I don't watch as many anime movies that, you know, particularly, you know, 50-minute features, because I don't see a lot of them coming out as much as they used to. Back in the day, there was quite a lot of them. Now they don't come out so often. But these are the ones that, you know, they give me hope that, yeah, man, keep making those movies. Right now, any kind of anime movie I'm seeing are just like some kind of wrap up to a series. Like everyone's talking about the Evangelion, You Are Not Alone, You Cannot Advance new titles. I haven't watched them.
I haven't watched them either because I watched the original Evangelion a long time ago. I was like, yeah, I'm done with that series for now. But like,
I was scared. You know when you were saying your top 10, your top 5, I was scared that Evangelion's going to be number 1.
No.
I was like, shit. If this is where Evangelion fanboy, I don't have to end this conversation right now because I can't. That anime is just totally. There's no other word for this. It's totally fucked. Anime is just crazy, man.
It's not often that I feel like an anime missed the point of itself, but I feel like Evangelion missed its own point.
Ooh, I hope you don't lose 100 subscribers for making that comment. Them Evangelion fanboys are crazy, man. They'll kill you. They'll kill us both.
It's like it was doing this Monster of the Week thing, and then all of a sudden it wants to get into, philosophy in the last 2 episodes. It's not how you do it.
Some scenes that I remember watching one of your videos. You were even talking about someone asked you sorry spoiler. I will say this: the scene where Shinji is masturbating over Casca. What the fuck was that about? I don't know what the hell. Can you tell me what answer did you give that guy who asked you that question?
Well, Shinji is a person who is completely disconnected from the rest of the world. Like, when you compare his relationships with Misato, he tried to form a good relationship with her. It didn't work out. He tried to form one with Rei, and Rei is just too emotionally distant. So even though she was always mean to him, Asuka was the only person he ever felt close to. But, like, when he rolled her over, he's trying to talk to her and he sees her breasts. He's in this decayed mental state. So like this one person that he can rely upon is also a person of sexual interest, which is why he said he was so, messed up. He was so fucked up that he was masturbating over the one person in the whole world he could connect to.
Yeah, I tell you, man. Funny enough, I didn't even see that scene the first time I watched Evangelion. My friend told me, do you remember that scene where Shinji masturbated over Gaza? And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That never happened.
Like the first time I didn't even realize what had happened the first time I had seen it.
Neither did I. And then I bought the Platinum Edition, I'm going to get into the whole fucking Platinum Edition in a minute. I put in the DVD, and I was like, what the fuck is this? What's this got to do with any of this, guys? Oh, man.
And people want to make a live-action Evangelion? What?
I just heard about, actually, someone securing the rights to that, actually.
Really?
I read that, I can't remember what. A company is suing a company for having the rights and not making a movie. I know that sounds totally ridiculous, but anyway. Anyway, going totally digress. Going off topic. We still got a lot to talk about. Let's move on to our next topic, which is I'm going to be honest with you about this topic. I'm going to put myself out there, and I'm going to get in a lot of trouble, We touched on this a little bit, but now let's totally talk about this. Let's talk about copyright and fan subbing.
All right. I feel strongly about these things.
First, let's talk about copyright. Well, they're both the same thing in essence anyway, so you go for it.
Streaming, fan subs, and pirating are killing the industry. Like, there's no other way that I can put it. It's destroying the anime industry. A lot of people try and argue that, no, it's just spreading the popularity, but it doesn't matter how popular something is if there's no money in it. No one's going to continue making it. I mean, we have mangaka in Japan that are, like, begging fans that, like, if you love – like, the lady who writes Vampire Knight was like, if you like my work – then don't take the food out of my mouth, And like, if you know anything about Japanese culture, that's like this incredibly bold statement to say for like an introverted society. And we have mangaka saying things like, they would have like things on their website like, what did you think of this scene? They're like, I just read the scanlation, and the mangaka would be like, if you read the scanlation, don't even bother being on this website right now. So like, it's not like the people who make it aren't upset about it, which I'm starting to get that feeling. Like people are like, oh no, they don't care. It's getting their series popular, but it's not. I mean, we're hurting the industry by not buying the material for it. I mean, there's no self-sustaining industry. This isn't charity. Anime is first and foremost a business. As cold and hard as that sounds, it has to be making money to be making anime.
All right, let me come at you with two. I'm going to come at you two directions on the answer for this. I'm going to bring up, you had this conversation with someone on on one of your YouTube videos. Now, I don't have a photographic memory or anything. I just remember this because it stood out to me. Now, I know this guy's name. I'm going to call him out simply because I'm trying to get him on the show as well, and he's Uber Akari. Now, his argument was, if you remember, which you probably don't, but I'll just tell you anyway, his argument was, he thought what you were saying was wrong because he said if it wasn't for the internet, he wouldn't have even have found anime. You know, because where he was, and at the time it was out, there was no way for him to get access to anime. And, you know, that's his, I know I'm probably paraphrasing a bit, but that was his reasoning for watching. And maybe he's saying that, oh, anime does more good than harm. I mean, streaming does more good than harm because you're getting it out there, because some people just can't get it. I don't 100% agree with that statement, but I see where it's coming from.
Well,
and
if you have the internet, then there is no reason to illegally obtain anime, and that's my response to that. It's with Hulu, Crunchyroll, and the new Funimation website. It's so easy to stream anime now, and for free. So I can't see an argument unless you're just impatient and you don't want to wait for a show to come out, or if maybe they're not going to pick it up or whatever. But you're hurting your chances of seeing it. Like I went out of my way to buy the Clannad box sets, like in special editions, from Japan, so I could get. I didn't think Clannad had any chance of ever coming to America, so when it did come, I was super happy about it. But
that must have cost you an arm and a leg.
I paid $80 for a music box, is what I tell most people. Is like one of the special editions came with this dinky little music box that played the ending theme. But yeah,
I love Clannad, I really do, and I only watched it a couple months ago, and I think it's one of the better. I don't think it's a shoujo, but it's one of the better anime dramas I've seen in a very long time.
I wouldn't call it shoujo either. I don't know. I don't remember the people who work on it. I don't want to call them Tahoe, but I'm not. Toho, but
I think is it Air? Is it no? What's it? Yeah. I know their name.
Yeah, the people who did Air and oh jeez, I can't remember right now.
I know. There's three. There's Clannad, Air, and there's one more. I can't remember.
They've done a couple, but I can't even remember. But they're all based off of novels, like. All
right, let me go back and counter argument what you were saying anyway. And
sorry.
No, it's fine. I was the one that went off topic. Basically, the obvious answer you would get to what you were saying about just wait and be patient is that what if I don't have money? But ultimately, that might have been true before, where I could have said, you know what? Maybe they don't have money, so whatever. But the truth of the matter, like you said, we're at the point now where even the studios are streaming the shit for free now. You can watch a lot of anime on YouTube for free, which I know is kind of meh. But a lot of Funimation have a site, have a channel on YouTube where you can watch a lot of the anime for free.
Yeah.
You just have to wait. So you do have the option. It is just a matter of time, actually. I can't lie to you. Like, so that's the copyright thing. You know, let's talk about the fan subbing thing, and I'll give you my take on it. How do you feel? So, I kind of see where you're coming with this already. So, how do you feel about people who fan sub anime then?
I feel like it is wasted talent. Like, if you have the ability to speak Japanese and the technical know-how to put it onto a screen, and you do all these nice things, like you do the little sing-along openings, and you clean it up and you make it look really nice, then why are you putting your technical expertise and your knowledge of the Japanese language, why are you putting it so that, you know, people can steal anime when you could be working for, like, Funimation or someone who need more people to do those technical jobs? So I feel like it's wasted talent.
I agree, and I agree with what you're saying in a slightly different way. I agree. It's definitely, when I see how much work they put into it, like a fan subbing group, for example, like DB, that Bio, I don't know if I'm saying their name right, who did Naruto for a number of years. They put so much work into it, and I'm thinking, wow, I don't think you're getting paid for this. Maybe they are through advertisements, or maybe they're charging people for the file server or hosting or something. I don't know, but ultimately, like you said, I think, damn, shouldn't they be doing something else? But I have to say, I know you will probably disagree with this. I've seen some fan subs that are better than the actual subs you get when you buy the DVD.
Oh, no, I agree, actually. Like, when I used to watch fan subs before I was really, you know, let's save this medium and I'm going to spend $200 a month on anime. Before I was like that, I used to illegally, not just watch it online, but I used to buy, like, bootleg DVDs, and I wouldn't even know that there was anything wrong with a bootleg DVD. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of fan subs that, like, in, you know, if you remember back to the golden age, or I don't know, the younger days of anime, like it used to be, anime would have like these really terrible subtitles. Like they would be like this stupid yellow color, and they would hardly match what was being said. Like they would the most literal translation imaginable. And like when you would go to fan subs and, you know, they're clean cut and easy to read subtitles, and they do the little sing along subtitles where the words float up and bounce in with sequence with what they're singing, so you know each phonetic letter. It was so much better. Like it was mind blowing how much better they were.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give you my take on this because I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say this, and I'm going to give you a really good example. Let me just go back to our copywriting thing. Now, I'm a minimalist in the fact that I used to buy anime DVDs. I spent a serious amount of money on anime DVDs in my life, and the thing I was doing was I wasn't really researching. I wasn't reading reviews. I was just buying anime. I was just buying anime, and I ended up with a lot of junk. And because of that, I became very bitter. And yeah, because some of the titles I bought, I just hated. I can't think of any to hit mind right now. But anyway. So, going slightly off topic, I've become a minimalist. I don't even like having physical media anymore. Everything I have is digital now. So the question is, if everything I have is digital, then probably most of what I have is copyrighted, right? Well, firstly, I'll say that most of the stuff I have, I did own before, and now I have them digitally, and there's no system for me to do that legally, because apparently you have to have the original to have a digital copy. So I can't win. I've already spent money on it, but legally, it's just... I think we're heading in the direction of no physical media anyway, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can see that. But, I mean, like, in this age of, like, the Android market and iTunes, there is an emerging community. There is an emerging way to get digital anime. Like, on the iTunes, I think the iTunes market was, like, the best seller for a really long time. Like, one of the top 5, like, they put their top 5 on the front page or whatever. Well, like, one of the top 5 for a really long time was Speedgrapher, so...
Really?
Yeah, like, surprisingly. But that was a show that wasn't very well advertised, but it was it's a really good show. I really like Speedgrapher. It's really good, but it wasn't well advertised, and, like, it's R-rated, so there wasn't a lot of ways to just get it out there. So you could either steal it or you could buy the DVDs, but who's just gonna, throw $20 at 4 episodes when you might not even like it. So that was the whole problem with anime, is like it's kind of hit or miss. It was kind of hit or miss with the DVDs. Like you could go to the store and you could see something that looks cool, but isn't necessarily going to be really good. Like I thought AD Police was going to be cool, but it was awful. I hate AD Police. It's my least favorite.
Which one? Because there's 2. There's a 13 episodes or the 3 episode OVA.
Not the 3 episode OVA that came out in like the 90s. No, the
13 episode.
Yeah, the newer one. I hated that one. I thought it was so awful.
It was corny, but I can't lie, I actually own it. That was one of the animes I bought, and I was like, it really wasn't that great, but it did make me laugh, especially the end reveal. But I was like, this is kind of silly, but I'm going to keep it anyway.
Maybe it's because I thought 80 Police Files was so good. Like, every single episode was so friggin' good. It was better than Bubblegum Crisis.
It was. I totally agree. And it was just, you can even see from the animation style, even though 80 Police and the OVA, they're so different in animation style. And I think there's a 10-year gap between both of them as well. They're so long made apart. So, but anyway, getting back to what I was saying, I have to just be totally honest with you and say my mindset now is I only buy what I love. It's as simple as that, because 1, times are tough. 2, they're pumping out so much bullshit in anime now. Like you said before, so much of it is just ecchi. And if I want that, I'll just watch hentai. I don't need to see panty shots every episode. We're going to get into your latest video, by the way, because you addressed this as well, which I thought was very brave of you. Very brave of you.
But, I thought so also. I'm getting a lot of likes, but a lot of negative comments.
Yeah, I have to bring up one particular title, with this whole copyright thing I have a big issue with, all right? One Piece.
One Piece has been horribly mishandled. Fix it, but it's been horribly mishandled.
No, I can't tell you my disdain with this anime, man. One Piece is my number 1 anime. I kind of isolate it. It's my favorite anime of all time, but because it's still ongoing, I don't really want to rate it. But because it just brings so much emotion in me. I really enjoy watching it. It really makes me happy. Great comedy, great adventure, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, like you said, it wasn't picked up for so long. I think even Naruto was picked up before One Piece, and One Piece was made in 1999, and Naruto was made in 2003. So I thought that was a bit ridiculous. Anyway, when it was picked up, I'm not even going to talk about the four kids debacle.
Yeah, 4 kids when they were still a studio, and not to say they haven't made some all right works, but they had to butcher One Piece because there's a lot of sex jokes and a lot of blood and violence in One Piece.
I had a whole One Piece episode that was 3 hours. So people, if you want to hear me talk about it in detail, listen to that podcast. But basically, One Piece, I watched the fan subs of it for so long. They did a great job. They did all these animated text with all the attacks and all the songs and separating stuff. And One Piece is my favorite. So on principle, I'm going to buy it. I will never listen to the dub because even the Funimation dub, the person they cast, Colleen, whatever her name is, for Luffy, so miscast. It's just beyond. Anyway, I'm a fanboy. So
voice of Trunks, by the way.
I
believe so. I want to say it's the voice of Trunks. I'll look it up.
Well, I tell you what, she's not using that voice to do Luffy because she sounds like a teenage girl, and that's totally ridiculous. But yeah, anyway, my point is One Piece, the way that it's done, the fan subbers took care of it. It's always been great. It's one particular time where I think you should only watch the sub. You should never, ever, ever, ever touch a dub. It's a totally different anime. It's like a totally different animal in dub. Even the new one, even though it's uncut, it's just too late. And, it's ongoing. But anyway, my point is that I'm reiterating again and again because I ramble, as everyone knows.
It's all right.
I only buy what I love. And the anime scene today, they're bringing out so much nonsense. I just can't spend my money on nonsense. And you know what? I'm sorry. I test the waters now. I do stream anime. I check it out and to see if it's worth my money. I don't just buy anymore. I did that and I wasted hundreds of pounds doing it, and I can't do that anymore. I have to just test the waters now, read the reviews, and but I still buy anime only if I love it though. As for everyone else, I can't speak on anyone else's behalf. I'm sure a lot of people don't even bother. They just download, and don't stream and don't really care. Watching your Defense of the Medium video made me feel guilty as well. It made a lot of people feel guilty. A lot of people feel guilty about that. So, but for good reason though. It's not like it was a guilt trip video. You made some good points, and I've always bought anime. I always have. But let me talk about one other thing, which I'm glad I remembered, which I really don't fucking appreciate, and I have to swear. Evangelion. I've bought this 3 times. I've bought the original edition. Then I've bought the collector's edition. Then I've bought the Platinum's edition. Then I've bought the director's cut. And then I bought the Fin Pack. You know what? They keep on doing this thing where they release some anime, then they hide features. Oh, this one's got this scene you never saw. And then how much do I have to buy?
I don't appreciate Evangelion. Like, I bought a box set, and then, like, a couple weeks after I'd bought the box set for Evangelion, like, I saw the Platinum edition, and it was like with over 20 minutes of brand new footage to help you understand the series. I was like, this is bullcrap.
And then after that, they released the Fin Pack Platinum. And I was like, come on, I just spent $100 on the now I got to buy the Fin Pack, and I like saving space because I'm a minimalist, so I had to go and buy the Fin Pack, and I had to sell, and I end up losing money, having to rebuy, resell. So now, you know what? When I see an anime out, honestly, I'm going to just insult everyone and say, I think if you buy anime in volumes, you really are a fool. Because ultimately, most of the time, when they finish releasing the whole volume set, they release one collector set that ends up being the price of one volume.
A lot of times. It's sad, but it's true.
I know that some people can't wait. I did this with Berserk. I bought Berserk volume by volume by volume, and I had the most beautiful box set. Then what did they do? 3 years later, they released a HD version. The remastered HD version with extra content for 1/4 of the price.
And it hurts.
And the same can be said for movies. I'm sure the same can be said for movies and everything else, but I'm just saying, these are the things that just make me, I'm not even going to say it encourages copyright, because it doesn't. I'm just saying these things didn't help. Me being an anime collector in the long run, as you probably can tell, I've been through a lot with this shit. It didn't help me. It really hurt. So
my big thing is when I was younger, like, it used to be pretty expensive to buy anime DVDs, but they usually came with pretty cool stuff. Like I remember the Excel Saga came with like a little a Minchie toy with like a barbecue grill on it, and like they would come with T-shirts and pencil boards and all sorts of cool stuff like that. But now you're not seeing as much as that. So if you want to spend the extra dollar on stuff, like I can't even think of anything I've recently. I think Fate Stay Night came with like a clock or something stupid like that, but I can't think anything cool they're adding for these special editions. So the special editions don't even have like, cool commentary or anything like that.
Well, I really am not trying to encourage piracy. People, when you listen to my story, it might even sound pathetic to you that this guy's just a sucker. at the end of the day, right now, all I do is I do my research, I read my reviews, I watch 1 or 2 episodes. I'm not going to lie, I do watch them. I usually, you know what? I'm put out there. I usually watch the anime before I buy it in its entirety. I do. I usually end up streaming it and then buying it after I love it. Like, I'm waiting for the Code Geass Finn box set. Love the anime. I'm waiting for that, and it still isn't out yet.
I know a lot of people are, actually.
The box that they have out now is ridiculously overpriced, so I'm just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for that to happen.
Anything that was on Adult Swim gets overpriced for a while.
Well, because I'm in Britain, I wouldn't unless I do research. I wouldn't even know. I look at some prices of things, and I think Trigun was so overpriced for so long.
It was, and Trigun, like Fooly Cooly, used to be stupid. Like you would get like 1 episode per volume. It was stupid. Cowboy Bebop, they were all stupid expensive.
They were. I might as well tell you people that I do have the limited edition of Fooly Cooly. I think only 5,000 in print. It cost me about $100. It was worth it. I got it signed as well by the director of Fooly Cooly, which is good.
That's cool. That's real cool.
Don't hate on me, people. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. People are rolling their eyes once again. So anyway, we'll go on to the last topic for this section before we go on to our last section. I know this podcast is quite long, people, but you loved it so far. So lastly, before we take another break, how do you feel about American cartoons? Because, I don't just watch anime. I really do I'm a fan of all animation. I really am. But I just find there's more substance in anime. But I do watch American cartoons. And, I might as well ask you how you feel about them and if you've got any favorites right now.
So I don't know when this started happening, but like when I was a kid, I watched, say Dexter's Lab, since we were talking about that earlier. But they released the DVDs, and I can go back and watch Dexter's Lab now, and I can still appreciate the animation that was done in that show. But I watch a show like, say, I enjoy American Dad to some degree, but like I go back and watch American Dad, and it seems so stiff and mechanical by comparison because like they do all these animation corner cuts, to make it so they can do an episode every single week, I guess. But I feel like American animation in general has sort of degraded into less about the animation and more about the the comedy, which isn't in and of itself a bad thing. But as a person who enjoys animation, I'm seeing a lot less of it that I really like. As far as a current favorite, I can't even think of something. Like I've been dabbling a bit in like Adventure Time, and I watched some My Little Pony, but like nothing that's super just mind blowing.
Someone tried to get me to watch one particular title. They said, "You're going to love this." And I really just didn't like it at all. And that's Archer. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's like a regional thing because I'm British. I do get it. I see, he's obnoxious. And, the guy who voices Archer, he actually he did one of my favorite American cartoons before, one called Home Movies.
Oh, yeah, I love Home Movies, actually.
Yeah, he played the coach, and I love Home Movies. I think it's very funny, very intelligent. But Archer, honestly, man, I've watched... I know why people think it's funny. I just don't think I really don't.
I haven't watched it at all. I've heard a lot of people thought it was pretty good, but I haven't watched it.
I really don't like it. Sorry, people. I know, I'm gonna even make you raise an eyebrow and say, I'm more of a fan of Family Guy, and I know that Family Guy is really just, let's just say a pun show where they just poke at celebrities and pop culture. But
I mean that's all The Simpsons was too. But it's an artifact of its time. Is how I feel about Family. I don't specifically hate it. It's just we're going to look back on it and be like, some episodes are going to age a lot better than others. Same thing with The Simpsons, like, or, actually, you know what? Futurama's still coming out, so I'll say Futurama's one of my current favorites.
I like Futurama a lot. I thought, well, obviously, I think a lot of people are really want The Simpsons to end, and I think it's just gone on too long, and it's just got nothing there, and, I don't want to hate on it. I had 8 or 9 good years with The Simpsons, but season 25, whatever they're on now, come on, man. They're not getting older, and I know it's not the formula. But anyway, Futurama, I think it was just, it's fresh, and, I like what, is it Matt Groening?
Matt Groening.
Matt Groening, yeah. So good luck with that.
David X. Cohen, the writers for that show.
One of the podcasters on Spill.com was saying that what he would like to see is an American do a TV series, an American do an anime show, an animated show with some substance like the Japanese do. And my answer to that was, why do you really need to do that? Because you got anime. A lot of people say Spawn was terrible. I thought it was alright.
Thought it was alright also.
I didn't think, I could see why people think it's ridiculous, but I thought it was okay. I think maybe it was a bit over the top, but, I thought that would open the door for more adult-themed, serious American cartoons like anime. But since, I haven't seen anything like it.
Well, we had Aeon Flux, which is arguably, it's well respected within the artistic community, but, like, people don't exactly remember it as an animation classic, you know what I mean?
So, but honestly, when people say that, I want to see an American, I'm like, but Americans, they already dub Japanese anime. And you are seeing more crossovers. I don't even want to talk about the Marvel anime thing. I don't know what the fuck that's about. Have you seen any of the Marvel crossovers?
I've seen like the mangas or whatever, the Marvel mangas, or like Stan Lee doing his take on anime and manga, like I think it was Hero Man or whatever.
I never heard of that. I'm just talking about the Iron Man anime or the Blade anime or I don't know. I'm hearing very bad things about all of them.
I guess I haven't seen those.
Yeah, well, apparently you shouldn't rush to anyway. But anyway, lastly, talking about American cartoons, we can't not talk about Disney. But first of all, I want to go to the anime side of things and say, obviously, Studio Ghibli is distributed by Buena Vista, which is a subsection of Disney anyway. And I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest with you, about Ghibli, because I've heard this phrase a lot. Ghibli stuff isn't anime.
Really?
Yeah, that isn't anime. That's good. That's a good movie.
Oh, that's silly. That's silly.
What the fuck are you talking about? Now, Princess Mononoke, no, that's not anime. That's something else. I've seen anime, alright? I've seen Dragon Ball Z. That stupid shit. That's anime. Don't talk about Grave of the Fireflies. That's not anime. That's Disney. And I'm like, so, it kind of really frustrates me that, I'm not putting Studio Ghibli down. They do great things. They do. And I could talk about Miyazaki and his son and the difference. Everyone can tell the difference because obviously a lot of people say his son's fallen off.
It's not quite on the same level.
Yeah, and I do prefer the older stuff, but it just annoys me that people see the Ghibli stuff. They don't even put it on the same. Ghibli doesn't really open the door for anime. I think that's the best way for me to put it. It really doesn't. Because people don't see it as anime. They see the Disney logo and then that's it. They think, oh, okay. Some people might. You'd be surprised if I told you some people actually think it's actually done by Disney.
It was a unusual amount of foresight for Disney to, get Miyazaki and like just have this relationship with him so that every time, one of his big deal releases is done, they, treat it right. So I do appreciate what Disney does for the localization. Like they get big name actors, like Billy Bob Thornton was in Princess Mononoke, for goodness sake, but they have a lot of love put into those releases. But on the flip side, I guess I can see where you're coming from, like people not considering it anime because they get theatrical releases and it's just not the same sort of feel.
I don't know if I'm surprised you haven't come across that, but maybe it's a good thing because I think you would only be upset if you heard someone say that. But I think it's only a matter of time before you come across someone that ignorant anyway. Or maybe if you don't, it's a blessing either way. But it just bothers me. And talking about Disney in particular, I think people say they got 2 golden eras. They got the Pinocchio mid 1950s, 60s era, and then they've got the early 90s era. And then now they got the Pixar era.
The princess, or so from Pinocchio to Princess to Pixar, triple P's.
Yeah. Did you just make that up?
Yeah, I did.
That's cool. I like it. So lastly, what do you think about that anyway, Disney in the world of animation? You a fan? You like their stuff? You only like the older stuff?
I really like a lot of the songs in like old Disney features. Like I'm not a music major or a music professional, but I really like a lot of the old Disney songs. And I really appreciate like Alice in Wonderland, like all the animation in that. But like when we get into Pixar and stuff, that was stuff that I watched so much as a kid. I have this really intimate familiarity with like Toy Story or what have you. So I really like Pixar, I guess, and I have some affection for like the like Aladdin and Tarzan and those sort of movies. But yeah, I'd give them a passing grade, but it's not anything like on the level. Like I don't think Aladdin quite has the depth of say Princess Mononoke or even Toy Story. Actually, Toy Story had a lot of depth in it, but
yeah, it's true.
Issue for another day.
Yeah, you got a favorite? Lastly.
Disney movie? Let me think for a minute. Let me think. It's a rough one.
Mine would be Aladdin. Prince Ali, fabulous, Ali Ababa.
I really like Aladdin. Jeez, I don't know. I really like Hercules, I guess.
I like Hercules.
I really like Hercules. Mulan was good.
You don't have to have a favorite, really. If you just... that's fine. I mean...
I really like all of the music in like Nightmare Before Christmas. Like almost all the songs are fun and nice to listen to, but I hate the story so much. The story is so dumb.
I haven't seen it in a very long time, actually. I remember loving it at the time, so I might give that a few. But it doesn't matter if you don't have a favorite. I was just throwing it out.
We talking animated movie or any Disney movie or what?
Any Disney movie, as long as it's not live action. It has to be animated.
Oh, it has to be.
You can put the CG ones in there. You can put Pixar in there as well if you want.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if I had to pick just a favorite Disney movie, I would say The Rocketeer. But like animation, there's a lot I would need to ponder about first.
Well, that's fine. If you don't have one that stands above the rest, that's fine.
Just put it at Alice in Wonderland for now.
That's cool.
I really liked Alice in Wonderland. Not a lot of singing in that movie, though.
Well, anyway, we're going to enter our third and final act, man, which is what I like to call the fan interaction act. We're gonna see what your fans have been saying, and we might even get some requests, or we'll see anyway. But let's just take one more break, and we'll be back with part 3.
I look forward to it.
People, we're back with the third and final act. The act I like to call the fan interaction act, man. Now you got a lot of subscribers, man. You got a lot of fans, and I'm sure a lot of them are listening to this podcast, getting to know you, know what you like, what you don't like, your opinions on things. So, I like to think I saved them a lot of time, and I've saved you a lot of effort answering these questions,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's alright. A lot of these were general and whatnot. But, I want to talk about your most recent episode, which is the ecchi episode, I said this before. I thought you were really brave to tackle this topic, and I thought the conclusion you came to was even more interesting. Some people would think that how did this guy turn something as perverse as ecchi and fan service into something that actually means something? Because when I just saw the title, I thought to myself, is he going to come up with a positive outcome for this? Because I can't. So after I watched the video, I actually thought what you said made a lot of sense. And you said you got a lot of did you say you got a lot of negative responses from that one?
I get a lot of people saying, well, I don't mind ecchi, but there's way too much of it, or ecchi has its place as much as anything else, when my thesis was sort of like ecchi is never a bad thing unless it's just in excess, like, say, Aiken. I despise Aiken because of all the ecchi, but...
Yeah, so do I. And I watched that recently as well, and that was just totally pointless. And there was another anime that I've watched recently called, is it the Queen of Martial Hearts or something?
Master of Martial Hearts.
Master of Martial. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
That was more funny than anything else because it was a combination of excessive ecchi fan service / corny fighting.
I thought that was sort of the point, was that it was just supposed to be a parody of the ecchi martial arts genre, such as, like, I don't know, Shinjo Tenge, which I love, and was it Ikitosen, which I don't love so much.
It's funny you should have got Tenjo Tenge. I thought it had a lot of potential, and it turned into it. That was one of the times where you watching it thinking it was one anime, and it turned out to be another one because they concentrated so much on flashbacks and the part.
The interesting thing there is that it did that because it was following the manga so closely, because the manga's, I think it's still going or something like that, but like the manga did this flashback really early in the series, and like it established all the main characters, then it did a flashback just so we would be caught up on everything that was going on, and then it kind of got into like the characters and their development. But like the flashback was a really long arc.
I thought it was actually more interesting than what was going in the actual storyline itself. I just wish that I think if it was just about the flashback, if that was the actual anime, it would have been fine. But the characters outside of the flashback, I didn't care for any of them actually, except for obviously
if it was twice as long.
Yeah,
then maybe.
Yeah. Well, anyway, going off topic, going back to your ecchi video. I think, like you said, the conclusion you came to was that it serves a purpose. And am I putting words in your mouth by saying it even betters the experience if it's done in the right way?
Oh, definitely. Like my example was with Iori Aoshi. Tina Foster was a character whose her little thing was she used to grow the other girl's breasts if she would sneak up on him. But I didn't feel like that was a point of contention with me. That was something I thought that built onto her character because they did it well. They could have just had it be her stupid little ecchi thing, but it's not. So yeah, it definitely can improve upon a series. And sometimes Ken Akamatsu, the guy who did Love Hana, he actually apologized to all of his characters for putting them in ecchi situations all the time. So I mean, it's not like it's always in bad taste, is what I guess I'm trying to say.
I totally agree. But do you think your female audience will agree? Do you think they might think that just because we're guys, we might think this way?
My female audience, I don't even know.
Not even your audience, just in general. Do you think... Now, what you're saying, I'm just saying that do you think, oh, this guy's just biased, he's a guy. Maybe a woman might not see it the same way as us. Maybe, oh, well, you're not the one that's always tripping over. You're not the one that's always... as a woman, I know a lot of ladies that have watched these shows and they just yawn, oh, what the hell, you know what I mean? So... I don't know if the females would agree with you on this. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe it's the company I've been keeping lately, but most of the girls that I watch anime with have a large appreciation either for art or for the female body. So when they see naked girls, they're like, ooh la la, but they're usually saying it's a joke or whatever. But
it sounds like you've been getting chicks from doing it. I think I need to get into philosophy right about now, You're not doing this for pure reasons, are you, my friend? I see where this is going. No, but you know what? What I will say about what you were saying about the ecchi videos is when I used to watch anime, and when I watch anime and when I see those situations like a guy looks up a girl's skirt or trips over, to be honest, now I'm gonna sound like a pervert. I thought it was refreshing for the simple reason in real life, in my life, it happened. when I was in school, those things happened. When you watch cartoons, like American cartoons, I would see like a character walk in an angle and think, wouldn't you see a skirt at that angle? And you don't. But when I was watching anime, it would just be normal. Like a girl, sometimes it's not even an anime that's ecchi based. Sometimes they just do it once. And you're like, yeah, that does happen in real life. You do see a girl's knickers, or maybe a guy does look, because that's how we are. We are guys. So I think what I'm getting at, I know I'm going around the bend, is that, to be honest with you, I think it's a bit realistic to have those scenes in there.
Yeah, for sure. Not in excess, of course. I mean, everything's all right in moderation, but
Yeah.
when it's just, here or there, then it's all right. Like for instance, I think Soul Eater, just to go back to Soul Eater, handles it very tastefully, because you never see so much of a girl that it's like annoying. And actually, I was playing a game with myself. This is gonna sound really perverted, but like I noticed that Maka, the main character, she does all this high flying and flipping and stuff, but I never once saw her panties.
I don't think you're the only one that plays that game, my friend. I think a lot of people played. I don't think even it's a game.
I thought that was tasteful of Soul Eater to not, show off Maka's panties when she was supposed to be this strong character and doesn't want to demean her at all. But then again, like if you look at a show, Kiki's Delivery Service, there were so many panty shots in that show. You see her panties all the time, but she's never a point of sexual attraction or draw. So that's like there's ways to handle these realistic situations without making them, like sexually oriented. Not that there's anything wrong with something being sexually oriented. Now I'm kind of rambling.
I totally agree. And like I said, Kiki's Delivery Service was a perfect example of what you're saying. In real life, I would see those things and it would just be normal. So when I saw an anime, like Ranma's like that as well, but Ranma's a little bit more perverted, let's be honest. But I'm just saying that you would see certain things and you would think, yeah, that does happen. That's all right. But unfortunately, today it's like it's kind of like a checkbox thing, like, has to have itchy, has to have a lot of it, it's like, it's just part of the formula, and it's even excessive to some point, but, on the flip side, I can't lie, growing up as a guy, some guys do think about women that much, some guys do try to look at girls' skirts that much, I can't lie to you, sometimes it really is that bad, and seeing it on TV or anime, it seems perverted, but it's not far from the truth, so, yeah, but when you're watching, obviously, a feature, it takes away from the story to have it in excess. But ultimately, I kind of agree with what you're saying. And I just thought it was really impressive. I thought it was really brave of you to take that stance,
Yeah, I think so also. But, I mean, I thought it's something that people kept saying in my videos. Like, I did Love Hina, and everyone's like, I thought Love Hina was just, a stupid ecchi series. Maybe I'll check it out. And I thought Please Teacher was just a stupid ecchi series. Maybe I'll check it out. So I was like, there's nothing wrong with it being ecchi, guys. It has its place too.
So, how do you feel about hentai?
I'm not a fan personally of mini hentai. I can think of off the top of my head like one hentai that I particularly liked, and maybe sometimes when I'm feeling raunchy, I'll look at some. But other than that, like I'm not a huge big fan. Like I'm not gonna go buy the DVDs or buy the mangas or what have you.
Yeah. Okay, well, I thought I'd ask because I'm sure some people are wondering. And do you think it serves any purpose, or do you think it is basically just another form of pornography?
So the guy that did The Watchmen, wrote the comic book? I want to say that's Alan Moore, and someone's gonna yell at me if I'm wrong, but he did a series, I believe, that was like tasteful pornography, and it was about like he called it The Lost Girls, and it was about like Alice in Wonderland and like all these fairy tale girls and like what their sexual lives would have been like growing up in that era at that time. And like it's possible to really tastefully handle pornography, but in general it's not. And that's where I draw my issue, is that I've always seen sex as like this big deal thing, like just growing up in the culture I did, it was like the merging of body and soul, and it's supposed to be this wonderful monumentous event. And when I see like a pornography belittling it to something as fragile as like the delivery boy comes over and the lady has sex with him, I think that's silly, and I can't get behind that as much. But then occasionally I see a porno or a hentai that like people are telling me, oh no, it has this great story and you should definitely watch it, and all this and that. Like Midnight Cowboy was a NC-17 feature when it was released, and I believe there's a couple of sex scenes in it, but it's a really, really good movie.
You're talking about the Dustin Hoffman movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great movie. Yeah, that's a good ref. I think a good example of hentai that I would say is worth watching is something like, there's only a very few that is, I can't say recommend to everyone, it doesn't make any sense, but something like Kite. Have you seen Kite?
Yeah. I don't even, okay, so fun fact on Kite, I didn't think it even like was a hentai. It just had those like bizarre sex scenes in it. Like they kind of came out of nowhere. But yeah, I liked Kite and Mezzoforte.
Exactly. They both go hand in hand, yeah. And obviously, I'm sure you know that I thought Kite was more popular, but Mezzoforte was the one of the two that spawned the actual anime series.
Yeah. Another fun fact, like, you know Hellsing. So there's the character in Hellsing, Alexander Anderson, the holy fighter guy. And when the director, before he worked on Hellsing, like the only way he could really get into the business to my understanding, the only way he could get into the business was by doing a hentai manga. But his hentai manga was about drug smuggling, and a guy who posed as like a playboy priest to smuggle drugs. So that character is Alexander Anderson, and like he flashes back to like that in one of the episodes, and like that sort of weird stuff. But like, so I think it's possible that hentai can be more than just, you know, a point of sexual contention. It's not that there's anything wrong with something just being the point of sexual contention. It's just that's not for me. That's not what I would watch something for. I don't need that sort of titillation.
Well, that's cool. I mean, everyone's to each his own. But I've heard a lot of people, and I'm going to talk about my personal circle of friends that they protest, they don't watch it, and I know they do. And, you know, I'm not even going to get into why, but some people, I guess it's the same with pornography. They don't really want it out there. I think, personally, I'm going to make a whole hentai episode because this is a really interesting topic to me, personally. I think there's a big market for it, and I watch hentai. I watch it. I watch it. I wouldn't say regularly, but it doesn't bother me. I like it. I find it very, very interesting, and sometimes I do watch it for thrill. However you want to perceive that, I don't care what you guys say, but
so like when people ask me when I tell people I watch anime, a lot of the experience a lot of people have with it is just hentai. So they're like, so you mean like animated porn? I was like, yeah, sure, and they'll be like, well, why would you watch, animation when you could watch real people? And I was like, well, for one reason, like, think of a stick figure with some long hair, and that you can perceive that as a girl, right? That's a stick figure girl. But you scale that up, and we can have this perfect example of what the human body could look like. It's more perfect than the human body ever will look like. We know that it's a girl, and we can understand what's going on. But, like, if you watch pornography, the girls are going to have flaws. They're going to, have wrinkles and folds and moles and what have you. But everything in an anime, in a hentai, is going to be exactly how the person who made it wanted them to look, for better or worse.
Yeah, I've had people come up to me and tell me that, there must be something wrong with you. You watch hentai, and I say, look, man, let me put it to you this two ways. I said, what's the common thread between animated porn and normal porn? I said, I don't know. I said, you're not having it. Number one, all right, it's got nothing to do with you. You can't go jump in the screen and participate, yeah? And two, the advantage of anime porn, which is I'm going to elaborate on what you said, is basically you can see situations or possibly things that you cannot see in real life. They can they can show you art styles, bodies, sexual positions, put it in different themes. Kite is a good example. Some people think, why did Kite have a sex scene in it? Personally, I think it just drove home the story. You can get a version of Kite without the sex scene, but it really just it decided to show you the situation she was in and how horrific it was, the rape.
Yeah.
Desperate it was, and they used that rape scene to good effect, to be perfectly honest with you. And it's a shame it's classified as a hentai because of that, because honestly, it's one of the few times where it serves a purpose.
Same thing with Perfect Blue. What would Perfect Blue be without the rape scene?
Exactly. And there's a lot of hentai I've seen that they do, like another example, which I'm not going to elaborate on, is one called Pure Male. And then, funny enough, before we leave this topic, you got, in the anime scene, there's some anime that are really pushing the line. Now, before we were talking about hentai that are doing good. Now I'm going to talk about hentai or anime that are really pushing the boundaries of hentai and anime. And one in particular, I don't know if you've seen this, it's called Kiss Time Sis.
I haven't even heard of it.
You can even see it on YouTube. Now, this kind of surpasses what even hentai is to me because it is so lustful and perverted without showing you the actual acts. It's kind of like the situation in Please Twins. This guy, he's with these two twin sisters and they love him and they just seducing him through the anime, but they're doing things to him that they do in hentai, and for some reason it's passed as anime. And I'm telling you, man, I've spoken about this on the previous podcast. They do things I've just thought were just crazy. That there's one scene, I'm not going to be too graphic, where this guy is in the shower with both of them. The girl's not wearing any underwear. The girl sits on his hand, and you know what's going on. And then when he removes his hand from what she's sitting on, his hand is full of liquid. Let me just leave it at that. And I just thought, and it's on YouTube. You can watch it on YouTube. And I just thought, wow. Another anime which I thought was trying to be more sensible about it, but is ridiculous, is School Days.
I've seen School Days. It's pretty raunchy.
It's pretty raunchy, and sex is an element, but again, it's not the same as hentai, but I feel like they're trying to use sex to drive home the situation and bring in the story. I spoke about School Days before, it's very infamous anime for the ending and whatnot. But again, with anime now, they're trying to push the boundaries with ecchi and with hentai and whatnot. So, make up your own mind. I just thought it was an interesting topic to bring up.
Something I'll ponder on.
Yeah, I will do a hentai episode, and it'll be episodes I'll probably get crucified about, but I think it's interesting. So anyway, let's move on to what this section is actually called, the fan interaction section. Now, you've got a lot of fans, a lot of subscribers, and you've got a lot of comments and requests, because what you do is very interesting. There's so much anime out there. I'm sure a lot of people would love for you to review the anime, but there probably isn't a lot of time. We know you're short for time, you're busy, you're in the army and whatnot. So what I've done is I went through most of your comments and I've compiled the top 9 most requested series, yeah?
All right.
And I want you to philosophize on the fly one of them, because one of them you've already said that you haven't done a video yet. I just want you to give us your insight on it. But here's the top 9 anyway, all right?
All right.
In order of popularity, yeah?
Okay.
Number 1 is Code Geass.
Code Geass, okay.
Number 2 is Gurren Lagann. Number 3 is Fullmetal Alchemist. Number 4 is Higurashi, which is a favourite of mine. I'd love for you to do that as well. This number 5 is really strange to me. Kaiji.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'll explain why after I say the last 3. Number 6 is Wolf's Rain. Number 7 is Madoka Magica. Number 8 is Welcome to the NHK. And number 9 is Hibernate Anime. That was in order of popularity. So, first of all, I'll ask you, if you don't have to answer. Is any of these on your to-do list by any chance?
These are actually, with the exception of Kaiji, these are all on my to-do list.
That's cool, man.
I'm trying to save Fullmetal Alchemist and Gurren Lagann, because Fullmetal Alchemist, I feel like I should save that for like a big deal episode, because that's that's one that a lot of people know, and I wanna do something sort of special for it. And then Gurren Lagann, I just want to do right because it's my favorite anime.
Don't blame me, man. Kaiji. This one confused me because, have you seen Kaiji?
I've poked into it. I haven't really watched it.
Kaiji is an anime about a young man who gets into debt, and it's a series of he goes through a series of gambling, life or death gambling, death matches. I don't know. I'm not the philosopher. I don't know what the philosophy is here or what there's to be seen. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'd like to know how you feel about this one as well.
I would have to watch it all. I haven't really watched it all, and I don't think it's that long. I only think it's 26 episodes, but
It's 12. It's 2 seasons.
Oh, is it 2 seasons? Oh, all right. Yeah, I can look into it at some point. I'm sure it's pretty easily available.
It's just the premise is a little bit. I don't know. It seems a little bit. It doesn't seem too difficult to dissect, to be perfectly honest with you. You know, I don't know about philosophy, but it just seems like maybe you shouldn't gamble. Or maybe you should value your life. I don't know, man. I know I'm not trying to be condescending to the people who requested this, but I watched this anime. It is an awesome anime. It is great. It is really great. But I don't know philosophy. I don't know. I don't see it in this anime so much. I really don't. Because you haven't seen it, you can't comment on it. But the first season, and I'll just tell you, the first season is phenomenal. It's a great anime. I don't know. Have you heard of this anime called Akagi?
Akagi? No.
Yeah. It's very similar. I think it's done by it's the story by the same guy. It's about a game called Mahjong, which is kind of similar to like a tower-based poker kind of game.
Yeah, I know of Mahjong.
Okay, well, I don't. I really don't. But Kaiji, the difference between this and Kaiji is in Akagi, the character is smart, he's cool, he always wins, and he's kind of like a Yu-Gi-Oh kind of character,
Right.
You know? But I can't say this in the he's a badass or badass or however you want to say it. Kaiji is not so. He's a very clever guy, but he's very insecure, he's very scared, he doesn't have it all together, and he messes up. So it's actually a much, much better series because in Akagi, he's always going to win. You can always tell he's really smart and he's very cocky. But Kaiji just seems like a more realistic character. And on top of that, it's not about Mahjong. It's random games that are very simple to understand. Whereas in Akagi, Mahjong is obviously it's a very complicated game, as far as I'm concerned. But Kaiji, they play cards, they play rock, paper, scissors. They just do simple games anyone can understand. But the depth that the games go to, and for you to think something like rock, paper, scissors could be simple, but they show you a whole new level to the game that you never even thought of. And again, that's why I love anime, man.
I'll look into it I'll put that on my to watch list in the near future.
Yeah, it's a watch. As for the second season, not so much. Sorry, and I've read a lot of reviews. People agree they drag out one of the battles for like half the season, and this is very disappointing. So anyway, getting back to the topic. I want to ask if you can philosophize one of the titles on the fly. And the title I'm going to ask you to do is Code Geass.
I'll do Code Geass, no problem. Like, I don't even have to think about it. I've done Code Geass at panels so much.
Exactly. So that's the reason why I'm asking, because I know I've heard you say you were going to do it, and you might still do the video for it. But, just as an exclusive for this podcast, let people know what you would think about it. And, you have like a rule of 3 with your videos, right?
Yeah.
Where they ask a broad question, a specific question, and an answer to that specific question. Is that correct?
Yeah, you got it right on the money. It's weird to see, it's weird to hear someone else say that.
You better get used to that, my friend. So for argument's sake, let's say I wanted to philosophize this anime, and be warned, listeners, there's going to be spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've already watched this show. There's a lot of characters in Code Geass, a whole lot of characters. And it's so hard because I don't know how to attack this on a philosophy kind of level. The broad question is the first thing I would have to attack, right?
That's what I do.
I'm at a loss of it. Can you help me out, man? Help me out. How would I go about this, or how would you start to ask the broad question on this anime?
Well, when I do my panels, what I do is I basically, like we're doing right now, I philosophize things on the fly. Like, I just have people raise their hands, request an anime, and I'm like, okay, I haven't seen that one. Code Geass, all right. So I'd be like, right at the beginning, what's one of the first major things that happens? How does Lelouch discover? What's the first thing he does once he figures out he has his Geass?
Doesn't he assassinate the head guy? I can't remember. He assassinates someone straight away. He kills someone, right?
You're very close. He did it to a group of soldiers.
Oh, you mean immediately? I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he kills the people because I think he's about to be killed, and the girl kisses him and gives him the power, and yeah, he immediately tells them to kill themselves.
and what was his immediate response to that? He wasn't like, oh, great, I can get people to kill themselves. No, he was disgusted and and taken aback by this. It's like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah.
At first. But by the end of the series, what is he doing? He is just murdering people left and right. Like, it's no issue.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah, what is the broad question here? Because there's so many sometimes when you go about this, I'm not sure if the broad question is a question that applies to every character in the show or the protagonist. But because if you do every character in the show, I think you're trying to draw a common thread between all the characters, and I'm not sure if I can see one right now.
There's a level of commonality between all the characters here, and that's what is the psychological cost of learning to kill?
Wow.
And or better put, there's a phrase used for this sort of thing called desensitization, where when you're exposed to something, say violent or gory again and again and again, eventually it stops bothering you as much. Like the internet was probably really amazing the first week you had it, but after that, it's just the internet. Or, the first time you see a CGI movie, you think it's really cool, but at this point, I'm just sick of them. Same thing with killing. Studies have shown that when someone is exposed to a wartime situation over a long period of time and they have to kill people, the psychological costs of that are detrimental. And actually, if you look historically at World War II, less than 70% of the soldiers in World War II were actually even firing at the enemy. They were firing up or constantly reloading their weapons or not even aiming correctly, because in that day and age, the idea of having to kill someone was just so psychologically wrecking. It destroyed people, literally. But by the time we were in Vietnam, over 90% of soldiers were trying to kill the enemy, as we're taught in basic training to call them. And there's a number of things we can look at as to why that happened. Is it violent movies? Is it video games? Is it the army switch from using bullseye targets to silhouette targets? There's all sorts of stuff there. But if we look at just Code Geass, if we look at Lelouch, his evolution from this character that wasn't ready to see people die into a character that is willing to sacrifice, his own friends to reach his objectives, we can see sort of his evolution as a killer.
Yeah, totally agree, man. But from this point, you're leading me in the woods now, because now you're gonna go to the specific question, And to be honest with you, your broad question sounded pretty specific to me.
No, it's a pretty broad question. I say broad, but it can be a pretty specific question. But I say broad because there's not exactly an answer for it. There's not a thing going on. What happens to Lelouch? There's not exactly a resolution to that question.
True.
And if I had to go to a specific question, and it's been a little while since I've seen Code Geass, but what I would probably say of the original series is the specific question would be something like, what does it cost in a modern society to start a revolution?
Really?
If I had to do something, what is the cost of a revolution in a modern society? And obviously, if you look at how Lelouch ended up, that's your answer.
That doesn't make me feel good right now, Wow, man. So, wow. So that's you know what? Enough said, man. That really just put me to silence, man. Because you know what? Code Geass actually has probably the greatest anime ending, I think.
Had a fantastic ending.
Yeah, one of my favorite endings. Some people argue with me. No, I'm not going to spoil it, but that didn't happen. He isn't. Whatever. I'm like, come on, are you serious? And recently, I heard that they're doing the OVA of Nunnally in Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland starring Nunnally. Oh boy, that's just okay. And it's not what I wanted, but at least they're not gonna try to continue or revive the show when I feel like it had the perfect ending, But yeah, man, that's you just proved that I don't think I couldn't do your job. This is Tyro Cast anyway. Like I said, we're totally beginners, and as for philosophy, I have no clue. But again, you've kind of enlightened me to think about these things on a wider scale, and yeah. Especially the desensitization thing. I'm sure people could say maybe you could draw that from Death Note as well, but...
Arguably. The first time he killed somebody, he didn't really... He was yeah, whatever. Like that guy he caused to get hit by a truck. He's like, oh, he was evil anyway. For like 3 minutes, he was like kind of up. Not even 3, but like 4 seconds, he was upset. He's like, oh, I have the ability over life, but should anybody have that power? And he's like, wait, this is exactly what I was thinking about. I'm smarter than everyone else. I should totally have the ability over life and death. But I've done Death Note already.
Well, you haven't got any. I didn't see one request for Death Note actually, and sorry, personally, I think Code Geass is superior, mainly because I really the ending to Death Note made no sense to me, and I'll say in the context of someone who was so meticulous about planning how they go about doing things. I'm talking about Light here. Didn't even have a contingency plan if he was to fail. Now I know you could argue that maybe he had too much of an ego, but I still can't bring myself to believe he made such a fatal mistake. And even if he made that fatal mistake, he wouldn't try to bring everyone down with him. That just totally, I just couldn't buy it. I really couldn't.
Death Note, I thought, was about the corrupting influence of power, same as, like Lord of the Rings or something like that. But yeah, I won't start going off on you. But if I can take a step back, if I could recommend this is like the most easily accessible book that I can ever recommend for a series ever, and I'm doing it early for Code Geass. There's a book called On Killing, and it's by Lieutenant Colonel Dave Grossman, I want to say. And it is this fantastic book that goes over all these war studies and like the psychological interviews with soldiers who were in wartime situations and exposed to continuous battle. And it's a book about desensitization, and it is so good, and I can't recommend it enough. And like it goes historically, like back to Greek wars, and like it's really good. I'd easily recommend that book if
That's
you're
cool,
interested in the Code Geass philosophy.
Somewhat. I can't. Well, personally, I don't know if I will check out the book because I'm a lazy ass and I don't like reading. But I will listen to you, my friend. You're gonna help me. You're gonna educate me. You're gonna do that for me. So, and I'm sure a lot of your listeners, your watchers and listeners will agree as well. But you know what, man? I think that's pretty much it, man. I think that's the show right there.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Hey. You're not going yet, man. Still got a couple. Don't try to run away. I know I've kept you on here for 2 hours, man, but I still want the people to know what your future plans are, man, for the philosophy of anime, man. The Philosotaku. What you got cooking, man? What you got cooking?
Well, I got a couple of animes brewing, like things that I'd like to get to, but I'm doing, in honor of this whole SOPA Pipa thing, I'm going to do another broad episode. I know that might grate some people's nerves, but I'm going to do an episode about censorship next. That's my next episode, and then after that, I'm planning on doing Soul Eater before too long.
Nice.
I said I would get back to some Fooly Cooly episodes. I'm thinking about Hitalia, but I don't know if I'm ready for that one yet.
I haven't seen it. I heard it's just a really short snippet anime of like I don't know, it's like a parody anime, is that right? Or
it's sort of like if you really, really generalized World War II and then put it into like ridiculous, chibi, non-violent situations, and you took out that whole Jews and Nazis thing, then that's basically Hitalia to my understanding. I haven't really watched it.
Neither have I, so I've heard a lot of things about it. I think I'll check it out. I heard the episodes are really short.
Yeah, they're like 5 minutes, like Azumanga Daioh.
Yeah. All right, well, I think that's worth checking out, man. So, where can they find you, the philosopher? Where can they find the Philosotaku? Everyone that's listening, because some people might not know about your YouTube site or your other places. So let the people know.
Well, you can find me on YouTube at Philosotaku, and you can also find me on Reviewtopia under the anime section. And if you would like to, I don't know, Skype with me, I'm the Philosotaku. I'm not famous enough yet to not warrant chatting with some people if they want to talk with me, and I'm always certainly open to talking with people who want to talk with me. Like, I just feel so flattered that you wanted to have me on your podcast.
Man, what you're doing is basically the epitome of why I watch anime. You're educating people. I don't want to be condescending to educating, but I mean you're enlightening people to something they might not be able to fully understand or comprehend. I don't know if that's going to come off as condescending, but I think it's the truth. I think that's the basic way I can say it. Some people, I think you're giving people a better appreciation for things they've already watched. Simple as that, you know. And for that a perfect example, man. I gotta be honest with you. When I saw your Please Teacher review, I actually forgot half of the stuff. I watched it a long time ago, and I actually forgot a lot of the stuff that happened in anime. And I actually was glad that you actually went through that, because I remember it being very ecchi and and after watching Please Twins, I thought no.
Please Twins is considerably more ecchi.
Yeah. I kind of grouped them together in my mind, and I thought, oh, Please Teacher, and you know. So when you went through and really showed, I was like, you know what? I might have to rewatch this, because I think I watched it when I was too young to really actually comprehend how good it actually was. And you find a lot older anime, they really took things more seriously than now. It's just fan service and blah, 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 as we've said through the whole podcast. But yeah, man. So like I said, man, you're doing good, man, and you shouldn't feel flattered, because you're going to be flattened by the amount of people that are going to be calling you now you've given out your Skype name, which wasn't very, hard to decipher, by the way. You didn't hear that?
No, I heard it. I'm just still flattered.
Yeah, so yeah, man, you're going to get a lot of calls, man. But you know what, man? Appreciate you being on. It was a great podcast, man, and I hope to hear from you again soon, man. I hope you find the time, because we know you're busy. You're doing your own thing as well, and I think the demand for what you're doing is going to increase.
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Yeah, you hope so now, my friend. You hope so now. But hey, man, you might even end up, I think over time you will probably get a YouTube partnership. I think your main issue right now is just awareness. People just don't know. So I'm going to help you with that, man, because I'm going to feature you on our page on the Towercast, if you don't mind.
I would really appreciate that. That's really flattering to me, and I much appreciate it.
No problem, man. No problem.